let's talk about your abandonment. So, somewhere along the line, you made a decision that you were abandoned.
My parents got divorced.
Huh?
Well, my parents got divorced.
Oh, that's a huge, how old were you?
It was the summer I turned 6.
I had a woman on the phone from Arizona the other night doing a reading for her, and she didn't realize how angry she was, still at 6 years old, angry, because her parents got divorced and she felt her father abandoned her.
Yeah, I did.
So can I tell you the decision you made around that?
Yep.
Well, you're just not going to let anyone love him, you're not going to trust him, and you're not going to believe it either.
I lived like that for many years.
Yeah. And then you tried something with the kids for many years. Did it work? Did you pick people who abandoned you?
Or hurt me.
Yeah? Yeah. It's hard to navigate a relationship from the fear of a 6-year-old who's abandoned, isn't it?
Yes.
Is she still abandoned?
No.
Oh, you got her? You rescued her?
Yeah, I did.
Good. Good. Now, the other side of that you're working on or need to work on, is you abandoning people. Sorry, she felt that one. Oops. Did that hit you somewhere?
Yeah, it did.
It did, okay. So if it hit you somewhere, then that's the truth. Okay, that's nearly making you cry, isn't it? If it does, let it, because it's not something you have to deliberately doing. It's actually still protecting you because your whole fear of abandonment's not fully.
She didn't get up, I got up for her.
No, but
I didn't want you to do that.
Oh,
Sorry. You'll learn.
Put
Everybody
a dam
learns.
in the order.
It interrupts the process. So it's kind of almost like you have this very tricky little fox in your head that moves the things around for you emotionally so you can feel okay. It's like, I'm going to protect that 6-year-old, I'm going to get her, I'm not going to abandon her. But I can't, it's like, it also locks you into sometimes relationships you don't want to be in because of your fear of abandonment and you don't want to abandon them. Because you think you're so powerful, and I mean all this with compassion.
I know exactly where you're coming from.
Yes. You think you're so powerful that you have the power to abandon people or make them feel that you're not abandoning them. But it's all fear-based of your own abandonment. And you're still not loving yourself enough to trust somebody else that they love you. Because the more they try, the more you push them away. And then you concede, because you don't want to abandon them. You get very nervous when you think that you're abandoning them, or if they think you're abandoning them. You get very anxious and nervous. But you can't express it either. It's hard for the 6-year-old to express all of that. So some of the ways to work around that would have to do with acknowledge that it's there. You need to keep dialogue with a 6-year-old, definitely. Ask her what she wants to learn about it. What language does she need? Express it. Oh, because you also shut down the blink of an eye. When it gets too emotional, you're gone. Detach me and I'm not dealing with this. Because you don't have the tools. 6-year-olds don't have the tools.
Trying to wrap my head around the part that I abandoned.
Forget the head, go into the heart. Does that make sense to you? I might just give you another little key to work on. Because you're doing it and you're not even consciously aware of it. You will be from now on. But up to now you haven't been consciously aware of it because you're working on it in steps. I mean, the work that you've done is very important because that's key. Now it's a matter of how it gets turned around and how it keeps you locked in because of your fear. You won't abandon anybody because you don't want anybody over there to feel like you felt. And that's arrogance, runniness.
Say that again, I don't get that.
Okay, I'm carrying the fear of abandonment.
Yeah.
Even though I know where it comes from, and I've dealt with a child
Yeah,
because she felt so abandoned,
yeah.
and I think I have it all done.
Mm-hmm.
But I allow myself to stay in a situation because I have the fear of abandonment, and I'm afraid if I leave you, I'm abandoning you, and I don't want you to feel like what I felt way back then,
Oh,
the pain. Because if I leave you, it causes you pain, but it causes me more pain.
okay. I
You got that?
Yeah.
So when the pain gets too much, I'm gonna shut down just like that. That's it, I'm not dealing with it.
Yeah,
If it gets,
I do that well.
most of us do.
Yeah.
But if we begin to get to where, especially in relationships, if we begin to get to where the relationship is getting crucial, where it has to change, and if we don't know to ask for what we want, and it begins to get painful, we're trying to say something, we'll shut down because it becomes too painful. I'm so afraid of hurting you, because I think I'm so arrogant that I can protect you, you know. But it's all fear-based out of the abandonment issue. Does that make sense to you?
I think so.
Okay. All you need to do is just ask for the enlightenment and just help with it, and it will come, because you're still locked into the fear of abandonment. Once you're afraid to abandon somebody else, you're still in the fear of abandonment. Because what happens is when you're a child and that fear comes in, you're still the child when the fear comes in when you're the adult. But if that's all healed, we're then able to begin or end relationships just with a sadness, not with that terrible grief. Because the child's grieving, okay?
I experienced that within the last year.
Yeah. And once you can work through that part, and no, you're making a choice about the relationship, you're not abandoning anybody, then you might have a sadness about it. It's a huge different energy than the grief of a child.
You're right.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, it makes a lot of sense when you're able to work through that. Because that's one of the huge big ones I think that most people suffer from, is that the guilt about abandoning somebody else. The truth is, you can't be abandoning somebody else unless you're abandoned yourself, because that's what locks us into the fear. We can't walk away. Like an adult, we can't walk away. The adult would feel sad and acknowledge this would have never worked, and they just walk away. Doesn't get all tangled like Barbara's whole thing. How tangled that is. Okay, so it's, and that's with any relationships actually. That could be relationships with families, friends, any of those things. At all times, with our children. So you might just have that small little piece to where you have to integrate it and bring it all together. Yeah. Because we can analyze it to death, but if we don't integrate it, it's not healed. And we do not have the power to make someone feel abandoned unless they're already in that state.
That's very true.
It's hard to remember though when you go through it. I didn't say any of this was easy, this is work. But it's well worth